Hello, I thought I would make a little video on how to create tiled clones in Inkscape. This can come in handy, say you're doing a mandala or maybe a monogram and you want objects around a circle. You could do it around other types of shapes as well, but I'm going to show you a circle today. So the first thing we want to do is create a circle. So I click on the circle tool, and if I hold down the Control and Shift key, click and drag, it makes a circle. It pulls it out from a center point to make a circle. I don't want it red inside, so I'm just going to come down here and click on the fill and make the fill transparent. So this is just serving, I don't even really need the circle, but it serves as a guide. Okay, so I'm still in the circle tool. I can go up here and click the selector tool to get back to that, or a shortcut is to just hit the spacebar key. Okay, so now my circle's selected. The next thing we want to do, we'll move it down a little, is find the center of the circle. So if I click on the circle again, you can see it gives me the rotation handles, and it also gives me the center mark in the center of the circle. Now I want to go over here to my snap tools. These are the snap tools here. They control how Inkscape snaps things to a particular point. You can turn them off by clicking this top one. Now you see all of them are gray. They're all turned off. Turn them on by clicking it again, and I can select which ones I want to be on. For this particular project, I just want this one right here, the little plus sign, and that snaps things to the center of objects, to an item's rotation center. You see a little thing pops up and tells you what it's for. So now what I want to do is I want to pull some guidelines down from the rulers to just give me a better visual idea of where the center is. So I'm going to click on the ruler, click and drag down a guideline. I'm going to do the same over on the left ruler to drag out a vertical guideline. Now I've got it, got the center marked very clearly. Now I want to put little hearts all around this circle because I think that would be cute. So I could draw a heart, but I'm just going to go to Google. I've already got one picked out. I Googled images heart, and this is a good one. So I'm going to right click, say copy image. I'm going to go back to Inkscape, and I'm going to say Control V to paste that heart in. So there's my image of a heart. Now I have to trace it to get it into the SVG format. So I'm going to go to Path, Trace Bitmap. A shortcut for that is Shift-Alt-B. Okay, so my Trace Bitmap menu comes up. It's a simple black and white image, so I'm going to choose Brightness Cutoff. The default threshold that Inkscape has is 0.45. Sometimes you have to change that for certain images, but this is a really easy image, so this should work fine. Update, make sure your item is selected here. Update, and then if it looks good, your preview, say OK. Okay, so now it's done a trace. I can close this window. You can see there's two copies of your heart now if I click and drag the top one off. Now usually the top one is your copy and the back one was your original. If you've lost track, one way to find out is to double click the item. Double click this one, I see it's got nodes. It switched me to the node tool, and it shows me the nodes of the heart and the little hands for the nodes. So I know that that's my bitmap trace. That's my SVG. If I press the spacebar again to get back to the selector tool and double click on this one, it doesn't give me any nodes. So I can just delete that one. We don't need it anymore. Back on the selector tool, I'm going to drag the heart over here, and I'm going to make it smaller. So to do that, I'm going to hold down the Shift and Control key, and that will hold the heart where I have it right now based on where the center of the heart is. And if I pull on this handle, it just makes it proportionally smaller. And maybe a little bigger than that. Okay, so there's my heart. I'm going to take that heart and I'm going to move it right up here. And you see, because I've got this snap to center on, it snaps it right to the center of the circle there. So now I want to create little hearts all the way around this circle. To do that, I'm going to use the tool. I go up to Edit and Clone, and then Create Tiled Clones. So that pulls up this menu. There's only a few things you need to change here for what we want to do. If you go to Symmetry, P1 simple translation is the default, and that's what we want. You don't need to do anything with shift, but you do need to do shift. You want to change this the shift X per column. I'm going to change that to -100. And I don't know why, that's just what works. You don't change anything on scale, but on rotation, now you have to decide how many hearts you want around your circle here. So if we wanted 4 hearts, right here, 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 and again at the top, that would be 90 degrees. If you divide 360 degrees of a circle by 90, you get 4. So if I type in 90 degrees here and change my rows and columns, leave this one at 1 and change this one to 4 hearts, okay, that will give us hearts all around the circle. But there's one other important step. So if I click on this, you can see that the heart's rotation anchor is right in the center of the heart. If I click now, it's just going to create 4 hearts right on top. And that's not what we want. We want them to go around the circle. So let me hit Control Z to undo. And I want to take that little rotation anchor and pull it right to the center of the circle. Now if I click Create, you can see it puts 4 little hearts all around the circle. One thing that's very important in this, we're not done yet, but just to tell you now, I have to delete the original heart. If you see, the heart that's selected is the original heart, and if I go down here, it tells me that that's path 11. If I click on this heart, it tells me it's a clone of path 11. So all we want is the clones, because these clones are still linked up to the original. Okay, so to select the original, right now it puts the clone on top, but if I press Alt and click, it selects the one that's behind. And so you can see now I've selected path 11, that's the original, and I can delete that. But I don't want to delete it quite yet. I want to undo what I just did because that's not enough hearts. I want hearts all the way around the circle. So Control Z to undo. And now if I change, let's say I want 30 hearts around the outside of the circle. 360 divided by 30 is 12, so that would be 12 degrees. And the number of hearts I want is 30. So let's try that and see. Always make sure your rotation center is still in the middle of the circle. Oh, that was too many hearts. They run together. Control Z to undo. So I'm going to do 16 hearts. 360 divided by 16 is 22.5. And change it to 16 hearts down here. And so there's my hearts, and that's cute. You can choose, of course, different angles. If I wanted more like, 20 hearts, I could just divide 360 by 20, and I could get more hearts around the outside. So you can also put little shapes in as well. Anything you draw, oh, remember I have to delete. Alt, click to select the one behind, and then I can press the delete key to get rid of it. Now all of my hearts, if I do it right, Alt, click, that's the path. Oh, so they're all just listed as path 11 now. Okay, so those are all the right thing. So if I wanted to do a shape, let me just show you real quick, put another shape around. I'm going to draw an oval. And I'm going to fill it black. Okay. And now I'm going to duplicate the oval and turn the duplicate white. Now I'm going to hold down the Shift key and press the down arrow to move that down a little bit. Pressing the down arrow moves it a little bit. Holding the Shift and pressing down moves it a lot more. So that looks good. I'll select both of them. And then if I go to Path Difference, it slices that top circle out of the bottom circle. It gives me a little arch. And I think that looks cute. And now I want to put that arch all the way around on top of my hearts. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same thing. I want it to go at exactly the same rotation, and the one thing I have to change is I have to take its rotation center and drag it to the middle of the circle. And then I say create, and now put little arches over all of the hearts. Let's change the color of that to red. I can still do that. If I change the original, it changes all of the copies. And now I want to get rid of the original. It's still selected, so I press delete. Okay, now let's say I want that arch to go from the middle of the heart to the middle of the next heart. This is a neat trick. If I click on a heart and say, if I right click on the heart and say select same fill color, it only selects my hearts. Let's say I want to rotate these hearts. I can just go click again to get the rotation, and I can rotate them. I need to unclick on my snap because it's messing me up. So now I can just rotate those hearts all together. I could do the same for these arches. If I click on it, right click and say select same fill color, I've selected all of the things that are red, and I can click on that and rotate those if I would rather do that. If you were to want to import this into Design Space, it might be convenient to group all of these things together so that they're not single elements when you bring them over. So you can use the same thing, right click, select same, fill color, and then if you press Control Shift and the plus key, or you can go up to Path, Union, that gets those all together, and when you import them into Inkscape, it'll come as a single item. And you can do the same for the hearts. So, well, let me get rid of my circle first. We don't need that anymore. So delete, and then here, right click, select same, fill color, and then path union. And that gets those all together as the same object. So yeah, that's, and you can, there's all sorts of things you can do with this clone, tiled clone. It makes things, lots of things that would be very difficult in Design Space. It makes them pretty easy. So thanks for watching.